The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into creative. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I warm up when it comes to anything with money on the line, or just in general when I come to stream and I want to play good. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how you should warm up and things you should keep in mind while you're warming up. Then after I explain all these things, it's not gonna be that long and hard. I'm gonna go into an arena game and just walk you guys through tips and tricks on how I play, so you guys might be able to learn something from that as well. So I definitely recommend watching the whole video through, but without further ado, let's get it. 85% of people that watch my videos are not subscribed to my channel, so if you guys can hit that sub button and that like button for the one time, it would be greatly appreciated. So this is just a normal world in creative. This is my world. It's nothing fancy. Once I demonstrate all of these edit drills and things you should do when you're warming up in here, I'm gonna point out some maps that I really like and maps that you guys probably know already. These are maps that are really good for warming up your mechanics, and I really like to practice them. If you guys have any questions throughout this video, feel free to come through on my Twitch chat, as I answer a lot of people's questions on there as well. These tips are for controller or keyboard and mouse. Whenever it comes to warming up, you really want to make sure that you get up, you know, you're situated nicely, your back is straight. You want to make sure that you have good posture when you're playing games. That way you can have the same routine every time, and you put your hands in the same position and practice the same way. That's very important, to make sure you have good posture when you're playing games. How are you gonna play good if you're slouched in your chair like this, trying to build and edit? You'll never be able to develop as good a mechanics as you were to if you were to sit up straight and practice the same way every time. So the first thing I like to do is I like to warm up my aim and moving my mouse around and stuff like that. And this goes for moving your analog sticks around, just general crosshair movement. One of the ways I do that is just by building, and then another way is shooting as well, but I'll get to that later. So I just start out by cranking a bunch of 90s. I practice all the different types of 90s that I've learned. I have a link to all the types of 90s down in the description below if you want to check that out. But I just start doing reverse 90s like this, and then from there I start doing normal 90s. Then I might throw in some spider 90s as well. Then when I start doing that, what I'll do is I'll practice editing, and I'll edit down everything I just built on. I'll do a couple reps of those just to get used to 90ing and editing down, because that's something that I do a lot when it comes to in-game. If you want to do it in a more consistent way and practice your piece control as well, what you do is you just edit these, you double edit these, and then you place a cone, and then you work on that, and you just keep doing this over and over and over. Now I'm warming up as we speak, as I'm recording this, so I'm not the best at my editing, but this is what I do when I first get on. Now from there, what I like to do is free build as well. So this involves me doing 90s. Maybe I'll throw a cone up like this, double edit, and just constantly crank out free builds. And I'll just practice my free building, and that way it'll get me used to how the builds are placing and how I'm feeling today. And I'll really get a sense for how good my building is when I start practicing my free builds for the day. Another thing you should work on a lot when you're warming up in here is your side jumps. You should get used to doing side jumps like this. It's really important to get down a good side jump routine every time, because you really want to make sure, especially when you're in game, whenever you get coned, you want to be able to do the correct side jump. And that happens a lot in build battles, and trust me, if you can correctly side jump after you get coned, you'll be way better at taking height, and you'll be able to get shots off on a guy that you're versing. So different side jumps include the momentum side jump like this. Another side jump is the protected momentum side jump like this. From there, you can also practice doing a double edit momentum side jump like that. From there, you just want to get creative with your side jumps and just constantly keep practicing them. That will help a whole lot when it comes to warming up, especially in build fights. The next thing I like to do is something that I don't really see a lot of people do at all. This is probably my favorite way to work on double edits as well. What I'll do is just constantly double edit cones like this and just work on my double editing speed this way. This helps with not only character movement, but it also helps with double editing as well. If you screw up, no big deal, just get it going again. All you do is place this double edit, and then you spam the cone, spam the floor, and you just keep running through that. When you do it really fast, it looks kind of cool and it's fun to practice. So the way you get used to warming up is just trying to do as many actions as you can. So put yourself through like a vigorous kind of training, I guess, for like 10-15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at most. Nothing crazy. You don't need to spend a full-on hour to get warmed up. I would recommend spending about 20 minutes to do warming up in the creative maps, maybe an extra 10 minutes to do an actual map and not just your own creative freestyle map. Then from there, you start warming up. Maybe you hop into a real game, see how your RNG is today, and just work on in-game stuff and actual real game fights. So another thing I like to do to warm up my editing is to just place a wall in creative. And if you ever place a wall in creative, for some reason, it just doesn't break. I'm not sure why. You just constantly work on your edits like this, work on resetting and flipping it back, and then editing it like this. This will help you with just warming up in general. Another thing you can do is just constantly practice your tile edits like this. They don't need to be so freaking fast. Just work on doing it smooth to get your muscle memory back from the previous day. Also, you could just work on constantly resetting like this. It doesn't need to be crazy fast, but just get used to constantly flipping this wall and editing it like crazy. From there, you can also throw in shots while you're doing it. You can just work on taking protected peek shots and just flipping that wall back just like you would do in a normal box fight. Now, fair warning, when it comes to working on your aim and actually shooting with an AR or an SMG, in my opinion, the best way to do that is to go into a box fight map and get someone to 1v1 or even 1v1 with a friend and warm up that way. In all honesty, unless you really want to warm up your aim and go crazy, you can hop into a map and practice your aim with all the different types of things and game modes you can do with your aiming. There's millions of aiming maps and training maps for aiming and all that crazy stuff that I will have linked in the description if you guys want any sort of aim trainer. One of the things I forgot to mention was the fact that you guys should practice your tunneling, because tunneling is very important in endgame, and if you don't practice it when you first get on the game, by the time you get into a real game, it might take you a minute to get back into the groove of things, which in a real game might cost you a W. So don't forget that there's all types of tunneling that you could practice to get better at it, and also I have a video on tunneling which will be linked in the description, so if you guys want any sort of tips and tricks on that, you can go check out the tunneling video that I got down below. In my opinion, the best way to warm up your shooting mechanics is to actually 1v1 someone or just go into a box fight map or any sort of realistic 1v1 map. Now, if you're somehow brain dead, I'll leave the code for the Clix Box Fight Map on screen right now, as well as the realistic mid-game 1v1s and Raiders Box Fight Practice Map version 2, which is actually really good, and you can get a solid warm-up out of that as well. I just wanted to show you guys a warm-up that you could do in your own map without going into anyone else's. As well as I know this map from It's Jarian, he's the one that told me about this aim trainer map. It literally has every sort of aim training that you could possibly imagine. I'll leave the code to the map on screen right now, and you guys can check this out for yourself. If you guys want to use the charged shotgun and warm up with that in creative, you have to go into creative, click play, and then from there you click onto this and you go into a online lobby. Once you load this up, you type in a code that's on screen now, click accept. And then you start the game, and then these blow up, and it should have a charged shotgun. Boom, run. There's one right there. Now I just gotta spend 20 minutes to pick it up. There's another one right here. So as you guys can see, you can get the charged shotgun in creative and warm up with it that way. Just a fair warning, I did not make this map. It is a little buggy. What you have to do is go back to the hub if it doesn't work, and then go into it again and keep doing that until it works. If that doesn't work, try opening up Google Chrome while you're in the map, because once I spawned in, I was dead and I couldn't do anything and the map wouldn't start, so I had to constantly go back to the hub, come back. And then once I opened up Google Chrome, it instantly started to work. And you get put into the game, and then you can use the charged shotgun in 1v1 build battles as well. To make this video a little bit longer, what I'm gonna do is go into an arena game. I have 4,100 points right now, and I'm gonna show you guys how I approach my build fights, my 1v1 fights, and overall general knowledge, tips and tricks about this arena game. And hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If you do, I just want to remind you that I do stream stuff like this all the time, so come through on my Twitch channel and you can watch me there and we can have a chat as well. Usually whenever I land, I just like to keep in mind how many players are landing with me, who's landing around me, and that's just best practice to gain awareness. Also, you might be able to get a free pick on some people. If you have good aim, of course, not me. Whenever I'm in arena, what I like to do is just kind of, oh my god, I like to get the gold shotgun. Yes, sir. And I like to get a big pot. Whenever I'm in arena, all seriousness, I really do like to loot the chest as quickly as possible. Then I'll start hitting things for mats. Since I know a lot of people landed here, I gotta be really careful not to get third-partied off the bat. Looks like there's more than one person here. You guys can see I shot this guy as he was in the air, and the second someone jumps, that's when they're most vulnerable to losing track of where you are, because they're not expecting you to come out just like I did here and get a quick shot on him. Always keep in mind to take people off guard when you're shooting them. This guy had an RPG and I heard that while I was in the build fight, so what I did was I baited him by pretending to ramp up, and then I closed off with a wall to let that RPG explode so I didn't take any damage. That way he had to reload it and I wouldn't get hit with it, so I can pressure him. I played this very smart by taking protected peek shots, as well as I went out of my way to jump off that stair and get a very nice angle on him to get a fat pump. Right there, I needed to send it on that guy because I had literally no health or anything to heal myself with. If I didn't get that kill, I definitely would have lost. The second I saw this guy, I had an RPG in my inventory, but I knew that the guy I just killed had a sniper, so I took my time, was very patient. I grabbed the sniper, hit him hard, forced him the launch pad, and got an easy kill because he was weak. Perfect. I get this question of what do I do when someone hits me hard and forces me to box up? This is exactly how you play it. If you guys notice, I'm trying to get mini talk before he comes to my box. That ends up not happening, so I go for the high ground. I overbuild a little bit here because I don't want him to contest me, and I want him to make it seem like I'm very high up, so that way he doesn't try and come up to me so I can take shots on him. I'm putting constant pressure on him to try and knock him down, make him a little nervous to show that I'm not scared to fight him. From here, the next step is to lay a heavy shot on him because I want him to lay off and kind of get nervous. The second I did that, he kind of backed up, ran away. He almost got me with that edit play, but I ended up securing the kill. This is exactly what you want to do. Here's a rotation strategy that I use a lot, especially when you have some sort of explosive like a RPG. Whenever someone's pressuring you outside of zone and you're in the zone, what you want to do is put in RPGs into their box, which forces them to take out their map, which gives you time to rotate. So whenever someone's being pressured, they won't be able to shoot you. Now be very careful because if your RPG takes a long time to get there, they'll probably take shots before it hits their base, then build up the second it gets hit. So that's just one of the ways I rotate when I'm trying to get into zone and I'm being pressured. I know this was a long guide, but I hope this video helped you. Everyone have a good night. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Deuces. Peace. That is so clutch, bro.